I thought we were talking about what we all did. And I guess nobody cared what I did.
I was going to get back to you.
Oh, were you?
Your holiday traditions, Marty.
Oh,
you were down on the list, my dear.
Okay.
We were circling around.
Like killer whales. Well, let's get back to your whale.
Is your dorsal fin sagging?
Yes,
Marty.
Yes.
Spit that shit out, man! That's on Flip Script.
AJ edits out all arguments he loses.
Oh,
that's not true.
I see.
That is not true. All I edit out is throat clears and snot bubbles.
Now we got.
Are you sure? Because I've heard a handful of Marty's in the past podcast.
Well, after a while, somebody just gives up.
Whoa.
So we've got today kind of a special announcement. We're joined by Britt Pixton, who many of you will remember from, 3 episodes ago? When Britt joined us to talk about her early life experience and her experience leaving the Mormon church. And what Britt didn't know at the time was that we were interested in talking to her just for its own rights for the conversation, but it was also secretly in the back of my mind a little bit of an audition, because I had a feeling.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, I had a feeling that
he's duplicitous.
It was gonna, that she just kind of was going to have a good feel for it. And a couple days after after our conversation with Britt, Marty and I talked, and we decided that we wanted to ask her to come on and join our team. And Britt was into it, and she agreed, which was really cool. And so today we introduced Britt Pixton, the newest member of the Check Your Bias team.
And I don't know if you two gentlemen know this, but I do happen to have a pair of boobies, which means I am highly qualified to be the estrogen represention.
I did not notice
where
that.
It happened.
When I speak to you, I look into your eyes, Britt.
Only
yes.
neck up, right?
Yeah. But thanks for letting us know. I really that didn't matter to us, but it's good to know now that you mentioned it.
Love it.
I know when to keep quiet. Most of the time, I guess I should. Most of the
time. But man, thanks for joining us. We're I think adding your perspective and your vibe and just expanding the ways in which we can approach conversations from a different life experience, I think it's going to really add to just the whole feel of the podcast.
It already has. She's already cracked me up in like the first 10 seconds. unless AJ edits that out.
Oh my goodness.
I'll leave it in.
I'm glad. As you know, I have exactly 0% experience hosting podcasts, but I am highly stubborn and opinionated. So okay. I think we all have that in common.
I love that.
So maybe,
I don't think I'm stubborn.
I don't think I'm stubborn.
either. I mean, what was I saying? Pardon me.
Hey, listen, I'm not stubborn. I don't care what you say.
So, well, how you guys doing? We haven't talked in a little while. What's going on December, 18th?
Britt, you go ahead and say it.
Oh gosh, what day is it?
I think it's the 18th.
I'm a COVID mom with young kids.
Yeah.
So every day is the same for me. I'm still in the world of like fishies and sippy cups and the new super spreader test cesspool that Target is. Have you guys been there in the last month?
No, we haven't.
Oh my gosh. No kids are in school. So guess where all the parents take their kids?
Oh,
to be at Target.
Target. There's lines every day waiting for carts. It is just.
Oh my gosh.
It's the last couple times I had to just not bring the kids because I felt like I was doing the wrong thing.
Really?
It's a little bit crazy.
Why don't you order online?
Yeah, we try online, but everybody's buying early this year because there's nothing else to do, right?
Oh, right.
You can't go out to eat. There's no events. There's no concerts. It's either the really expensive drive-through Christmas lights or gingerbread houses at home.
Right.
So...
And I haven't even looked into those drive-through Christmas lights, so they're doing that, but it's expensive.
We did it. We were suckers.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice.
It was.
But overpriced.
Right.
What is like a place you drive and there's like a lot of Christmas lights? So it's like,
Marty, you are catching on quick.
I'm telling you,
Good.
I'm not as dumb as I look. Then again, who could be? But But yeah, I'm thinking that we like a Christmas in the park kind of thing, or
Yeah, is it a park? It's not a neighborhood,
so
right?
the zoo did it this year because usually they do
right.
lights, and I guess you walk all through there, and we don't do that because I'm an animal rights sucker, so we don't.
So you don't like zoos,
Right.
yeah?
But this was just a drive-through. They tuck away all the animals in bed before it happens, so they aren't disturbed.
Right.
And,
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I've been to a concert at the zoo, which I know is controversial. I really liked it. It's a cool setting, but I get why it's like loud and the elephant's right there. And I mean, visually it's pretty amazing.
It's
like,
a nice
oh my God,
space.
it's a beautiful space. And to tell you the truth, I never thought for a long time until I met some other friends that were against zoos from an animal rights perspective. I never really thought about it before. It kind of being animal prison, I guess. Tell me more about why you don't like zoos.
Oh my goodness, you're asking me this question. I didn't bring my homework.
Well, just tell me your gut feelings.
Well, let me start by asking you this. Are you familiar with the early 1900s when people would, on tiny little train cars, pack animals and people, anybody with a physical anomaly, and bring them to the sideshows?
Like
Or
the carnival,
circus?
that would go town to town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You charge you money to see the bearded lady or the deformed kid or the two-eyed twins or,
Yeah.
And they would also bring the animals. And, well, suddenly human rights and animal rights realized that maybe these animals dying and attacking people because they were so psychologically distressed was a problem, and they eventually banned that. How is the zoo much different? Other than that the animals are slightly better taken care of. I mean, your prison word is not an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
They're trapped in a cage.
Yeah.
They're fed food, and they're exploited for money and for our observation. It's unnecessary. I believe it's cruel. And the whole argument of animal preservation and
that it gives you a chance to see these animals and that gives people an appreciation. That's the argument you're talking about?
No, there's an argument of animal preservation and animals that are going extinct. There's lots of zoos that might take in, a panda bear or other animals that are going extinct, and there'll be some health care for that and other doctors and scientists that help keep them alive or maybe eventually release them into the wild. But I just think that's a load of BS.
Yeah.
Because there's actual animal conservatories that do that already.
you could actually just pay hunters too to. I guess that was meant to be leading into the fact that there's an old saying in the hunting community that if it pays, it stays.
Right.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
I mean, so conservationists get tons of money from hunters, and if you can keep, whether it's in the wild or whether they're on these giant preserves in the Great Plains of America or Africa or wherever, if it pays, it stays. So those animals don't go extinct, and it's way more humane than a zoo, in my opinion. I mean, they're running around on their own out there, so.
And what is a zoo, or like zoos money-making endeavors?
It depends. There's some zoos that run as, here's my air quotes here, nonprofits. But they have a very large board of directors with very large side paychecks.
Right.
And then I can't say anything more about that because my knowledge on that is thin.
Yeah.
But there's other for-profit rinky-dink zoos, especially in smaller states or more rural areas, where the checks and balances on whether they're treating the animals well is just pretty much null and void.
Well, I guess then are you getting into like the Tiger King zone?
Yeah, I mean, that would probably be like the D grade
Right.
zoo or animal place to go visit, and the Oregon Zoo is probably up an A grade. But
Yeah, it seems like most any city that kind of wants to consider itself a major metropolitan area has a zoo,
A fancy
right?
zoo.
Historically speaking, and maybe it is an idea that has seen its day. Like think about before the internet. Maybe a zoo was the only way for a kid or an adult to ever see a giraffe or a jaguar, and you get an idea of like, just except for the Encyclopedia Britannica, you get an idea of like, oh my God, that's a beautiful animal. Like, yeah, they're endangered. I get behind.
Dude, we've had
helping with that.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom for quite a while.
Well, that's true too. We have the TV shows, but what I'm saying now is with the internet, you can be like, I want to see a Bengal tiger.
Yeah.
I want to see a white snowy Bengal tiger. Like boom,
And
boom,
you have live
it.
webcams and you can watch it. And
Yeah.
amazing documentaries on the animals.
I mean, I can tell you that growing up in Florida with SeaWorld, the idea of Shamu and then baby Shamu, when baby Shamu was born, it was just kind of part of the background.
So sad with their dorsal fin activity.
But we never even thought about that. Like, it was just part of, we have SeaWorld and Shamu is the star of SeaWorld. And it's like the sun going up. It's, you know, it's just there and you accept it. And it wasn't until I saw the documentary Blackfish just maybe 6 years ago that I really paused to think, oh, yeah, they're not meant to live like that in this limited pool and mixed together whales from different pods. Like a killer whale is not a killer whale is not a killer whale. Right. They're from different pods. They might even speak different dialects or languages. It's not all the same clicks and whistles.
Say more about Blackfish.
Oh, have you not seen it?
Never heard it.
Dude, you've got to watch it. You haven't seen it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Blackfish is a documentary done, I'm thinking about 6 or 7 years ago, and it's about killer whales in captivity. And it goes into the details of what their experience really is and some of the attacks that have happened on trainers by these highly intelligent animals that are kind of lashing out. And their dorsal fin, slumping over. And it was the impetus behind SeaWorld no longer having killer whales. It was like, that was it. That was the line of demarcation. Was before that was the way I grew up, which was like, of course SeaWorld has killer whales. You can't imagine a SeaWorld without killer whales. It's like Disney without Mickey Mouse. And then after that was like, oh, wait a minute. Those are real creatures that don't live like that. They don't live like that. And it changed so many people's minds and put so much pressure on SeaWorld that they did away with their most recognizable branding.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like Floridians with shoes.
Well, we did away with those a long time ago.
It's natural.
Especially if you're going into 7-Eleven.
I'm not talking
That's when you leave your shoes in the car.
I'm not talking about flip-flops either. I'm just talking about straight up barefoot.
If you want to be served in 7-Eleven in Florida, you better take those shoes off, buddy. You can take your business elsewhere.
Maybe even the shirt.
Yeah, well, maybe.
AJ wasn't really very engaging last night when I settled into reading Crawdads, where the Crawdads sing.
Oh, did you start reading that?
I'm sure Mickey's going to be happy to get her book back after 6 months.
No, she's already read it.
But so I texted him and said, "Hey man, shoot, I got and Britt was kind enough to even ask me first thing this morning about getting my final storage locker crap moved up here and all settled in, and it's like, yeah, it felt so good.
Yeah.
AJ just gave me just kind of like a one word, yep. I'm like, this fucking guy doesn't want to chat, man. I'm sure as hell not going to call him because he never picks up. Sorry.
To be fair, his wife's going through a thing and he's in single dad mode.
Yeah.
So, there's stuff going on.
And I mean, to be perfectly honest, I'm not really sucked in conversationally to storage locker talk.
It's so riveting.
And
I mean, you just segued from killer whales to storage lockers, my brother.
Well, I thought we were talking about what we all did. And I guess nobody cared what I did.
I was going to get back to you.
Oh, were you?
Your holiday traditions, Marty.
You were down on the list, my dear.
Okay.
We were circling around.
Like killer whales. Well, let's get back to your whale.
Is your dorsal fin sagging?
No, Marty. Yes. It is. I know. Thank you,
Marty's
Brett.
dorsal fin is sagging.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do to get it up. I'm just going to have to go back home again.
There's some pills for that.
Can I borrow some? I don't have a prescription. Shit, man.
Oh, brother.
All right.
No, so Marty has just completed his move from the Bay Area up to Oregon. Got his stuff up here, which feels official now, right? I mean, that is
a big thing.
Right.
I mean, I'd been up here for a couple of years, but
getting your shit up here is different.
I had that storage locker just loaded with crap that needed to be addressed, and it's kind of been on my mind, and it makes me feel sad, like a dorsal fin that's not quite straight.
Have you ever thought about the concept of storage lockers, though? It's like we have a place, right? Places, homes where we keep a lot of our stuff. And then we have another place where we keep more of our stuff that is not important enough to keep in the main stuff keeping place, but is important enough to just kind of generally keep, or we can't let go of it. And I know you're in between permanent homes, Marty, but I'm just talking about the concept of storage lockers in general.
The mover, the guy that helped me yesterday, said that he moved some lady who was paying their company like $500 a month to store about 10 by 15 square foot locker. And it's been that she'd been doing it for 5 years, and she had just had them move all that stuff to like another storage locker for her that was cheaper. And she said, I'm going to start paring this down. It'd been going for 5 years.
Yeah.
$500 a month. Well, I mean, my stuff's been down there for like what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Like $200 a month. It's
right.
Like, it's killing me. I can't, it's just like ridiculous.
Do you guys know, I don't know the answer to this, but I can't imagine that any other country other than America has such a big business for storage
It's
lockers.
a booming business too. Yeah.
Here, the keep your stuff and hold on to your stuff and pay somebody else to hold on to your stuff.
Well, and get stuff because something's missing. So let's get some stuff to make us feel better.
I spent 15 years in New York City, so I am anti-storage locker because when you live in a 700 square foot apartment, it teaches you to throw that shit out, and you learn to just keep what you need and toss what you don't.
We had a storage locker in New York just for our window unit AC, so we could get rid of it in the summer and open the windows. I used to put that thing on a dolly and walk it, pull it from First and 13th to like Avenue D and 7th to where our storage locker was. We were walking through Alphabet City in the heat, like in the summer heat. And then in the fall, walking it back so we could, the reverse. In the early summer, walking it to the apartment so we could put it in the window. And then in the late fall, walking it back to the storage locker so it wouldn't be sitting in the window leaking cold air in.
Because that space is valuable.
I hate that, man.
Yeah. See, like in San Francisco, you don't need air conditioning. That's what's so awesome about it.
It's like 70 to 72 degrees all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so awesome that weather-wise. And I love the fog when it rolls in and it ensconces me and nourishes me.
Well,
that's why I love the mist and the rain here.
Fog.
Yeah. I love the mist and rain here. Like when the sun came out, I was like, damn, what this morning the sun came out, I'm like, stop.
Oh, that's like a natural Oregonian complaint. You're getting there
too much sun. Too much sun. I'm wilting.
Bright sun. I can't handle it.
I'm still a little scarred because when I was a kid, I told my dad that I liked the cloudy, misty, and he just looked at me. He's like, he just was perplexed. He goes, "Yeah, well, son, there's something wrong with you." That was the exact comment. And
this is real. This happened.
Yeah, and I kind of like muttered to myself, "Something wrong with you."
Oh, that's the ultimate kid comeback.
Yeah.
Did you grimace at him as soon as he turned his back?
Yeah.
Make a face.
Gave him a face.
Oh, that's so funny, man. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Marty, because that was one of the things that I told you guys I had on my mind to talk about today, and kind of a freewheeling episode that was really just our chance to welcome Britt on board. And that my father-in-law passed away this past weekend, Mickey's dad, Tom Rayner, and had me thinking about just losing parents and fathers. Not only fathers, but just specifically fathers. And this time, what I was thinking about, but just losing parents. And Britt, are both your parents still alive?
Yes. Sorry, I hesitate because my mother had a stroke a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So she is there, but struggles sometimes with getting what she wants to say out.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it just affected the ability to vocalize?
No. She had, I'm going to forget the word. But just word scramble and word comprehension.
Okay.
It took her about 6 months to be able to get a fully clear sentence out after the stroke. It was it was a very bad stroke.
Yeah.
And she's completely physically dependent on others now. So there was a death at that point, and I did lose a good part of her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a different She is my mother, but a different mother in some senses. But both my parents are still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Marty, I know you've gone through losing your dad.
Yeah, that was really hard because I mean I was really, really close to my dad. I mean I'm close to both my parents, but my mom's still around. She's has some issues sort of getting out what she wants to, and the poor thing, I can tell she's got it. She's still sharp, but she just she can't get out, and it's so frustrating for her. But when my dad died, with me doing CPR on him, and my mom there, they were up visiting us, me in San Francisco, and it was hard. I mean, we were super close, and he was such a good dad. He kind of reminds me of AJ, and as AJ is with his kids. But one of the things that I really loved was the way my friends came around and were supportive. And I'd go through stages where I'd just break down crying. And
it was sudden, right, with your dad?
Yeah. I mean, we had to make the decision. I mean, they asked us when we brought him to the hospital. They wanted, this was UCSF, and they're really good there. And they're like, hey, we can put him in any technology you want. They've got it. And they're like, we can put him in a big vat of ice and have a surgeon come in here. But he had already had like a bunch of different bypasses, and I basically talked to his cardiologist and say, is he going to be, what are the chances he's comes out of this and he's at least as good as he was before he went in, or is he going to be even more fucked up? And the doctor's like, he's going to be more fucked up if we save him. And I'm like, well, he wouldn't want to live that way. So, but little things like my brother, that was in July of 2011. And my brother and I and he, the three of us would have these conference call after every Penn State football game. And so, it was the trauma of his death. And then you have these little things in your life that remind you of him. And then like the first fucking Penn State football game, I'm like, I just broke down crying. I'm like, I called my brother and he was bawling too. And it's like, where's Dad?
Suddenly the missing limb.
But yeah, and you lost your father too, AJ.
Yeah, in 2003, when Mickey was pregnant with our oldest son, Sebastian. Yeah, he passed away. I was rehearsing for a play actually at a regional theater in Connecticut, traveling from the city back and forth every day, and like I said, Mickey was pregnant with Sebastian, and we were kind of struggling at the time too. And there was so much going on in life. And then suddenly, I got the call that something was going on with my dad's lungs. He was in the hospital, and I had to come down quickly. So I left the rehearsals. We flew down, and he wasn't going to make it. And so we just, had to make the decision to take him off a ventilator as well. But, we had some time with him, and he wasn't completely lucid, but, we had some time to say our piece, and it's a gut punch. I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast. I know I've mentioned it to you, Marty. There's, I loved my dad a lot. But I loved him more than I respected him. I think for legitimate reasons, but had wonderful memories. I know my mom, you've told me that, worries about that. I have wonderful memories with my dad and very loving memories. And, man, when that happened, I was grateful that it happened quickly and that it wasn't this extended thing. He never wanted to be in a hospital hooked up to tubes. And I mean, he was as far as conversational couth, he didn't have it. And so he would say to me, if I ever have to wind up in a hospital or I'm sick, I just want you to take me to the mountains and shoot me. I was like, okay, Dad.
Sure.
I mean, you could just walk out into the ocean on your own and not involve me.
Exactly.
Don't bring me into it, Dad.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to bring me into the legal system, But he used to say that all the time. And then he'd also say, I don't want anything. He said, after I die, the body's just a vessel. I don't want you to have a funeral, or I don't want anything.
My dad said that too. He donated his body to science.
Same here. And I know that was tough on a couple of my siblings, not having anything I remember being there that night when he was still on the ventilator, and we were going to take him off, and we all went out to have a bite to eat. First, we just went to a Denny's that was by the hospital. It was so goddamn depressing. And I was adamant. I said, he said he never wanted anything. He didn't want anything. He wasn't like, well, do what you need to do. It was adamant. I don't want anything. So when he died, you know, we were there in the room, and it was powerful. It was a powerful gut punch. It was a powerful, like, Sebastian kicked for the first time, like the second after he died. So it was very, very emotional, but we walked away. We left the body in the hospital, donated it, and we just walked away. Yeah. And everyone went back to their lives. And I know that created a void for some people where they didn't get to kind of have a memorial, a celebration,
because you think of that cliche phrase, it's cliche, but I believe there's a lot of truth to it. Funerals are for the living, not for the person who passed.
Yeah.
So you didn't do even just a memorial service, nothing?
Not even a slideshow.
Wow.
See, we had a wake. We had a traditional Irish wake for my dad, just no body.
Okay.
Right.
But it was really fun.
Right. It was good. But like, see, I think also for my dad is he wasn't someone who built a community throughout his life. He didn't have a lot of close friends. He was a loner and really kind of had trouble getting out of his head and struggled with unhappiness. And so it would have been just us. And I do think it would have been nice for some of my siblings. For me, it felt forced and against his wishes. And, you know, and if I'm honest, I probably wanted just to get back to my life. Yeah. If I'm brutally honest.
Well, you can push that also helps you push some of that pain away too. So don't.
Well, what was interesting at the time, you know, after we got back up to New York and I went back and you know, this play opened and, you know, my life was going on, everything that had gone on in my life. And then losing my dad, I remember just having this feeling of this doing this play that I was really excited about and was good. I just wanted to get to the end of the run. I wanted to stop playing pretend because I needed to work on my real life. You know, I just felt like I need to get to work on my real life. I'm coming here to play pretend every night. I just felt that so strongly. So, and that way it was a gift because it was true. I did need to do that.
I love the comment that you said about possibly loving your father more than you respected him. That makes me, we're all older in years. Is that appropriate?
Oh, why are you looking at me?
Oh, it's just an itch in my eye, just a twitch that made me go that general direction. But did you guys go through the same stages I did where I think there's different stages where we view our fathers differently, right? When we're young, dad's just an idol. You know, mom's doing all the work behind the curtains, but that father's love is something we all strive for, and the father's pride we all long for. And then there's a moment sometime in our 20s where you start to learn something and realize that maybe you're better at your dad, either whether it's in tech or I remember introducing my parents to arugula in New York City. I had them try an arugula salad. I remember thinking,
that's so cute.
And I always thought of them as very classy food eaters. My mother's an amazing cook and baker. They made amazing, very healthy, delicious meals. And I remember realizing, I think I might start to know more about food than they do. I started talking about different cheeses and crackers. And then there's the stage where you watch them make mistakes and have that realization that they're just people and they're still going through the same psychological issues that we do in our 20s. And then there's the point where I am at in my life right now, where I see my dad making mistakes and I switch into the parent role and I start nagging him and telling him what I think he should be doing. I'm sure he loves it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
everybody loves that.
That's a really, I think, succinct summary of those stages, Britt, of going from that hero worship, which, you know, I think plenty of people worship their mom like that, but it does seem to be a certain flavor of it for the dad. If you're lucky,
figure.
If you're lucky enough to have, you know, a dad that's present, or maybe it's even more if your dad's not present, you make them into this hero or something, you know. I know my older half brother, same dad, a different mom, you know, he had such a different experience. My dad really kind of abandoned him and he never got over it. He was striving for dad's love until the day Dad died. And they had made some connections, thankfully. But what I took for granted, fishing trips, that's one of my biggest nice memories of my dad, fishing trips. He never got that, and then subsequently after my dad passed away, there was a real effort on his part to get close to me, which was never there before. He was much older, like 15 years older, but I was the closest thing. I knew that it was because I was the closest thing to Dad. And so then the desire was to get close to me. To take that hero, and then you start to see their flaws, and maybe as a young teenager, which, my kids are getting into, you start to see like where Dad doesn't handle this right. Or he doesn't handle this very well.
Yeah.
Or also that teenager thing of Dad's just wrong. No matter what, he's wrong. And then going into adulthood and finding your own way and seeing those flaws that you then come to kind of, I think, accept is like, they're people too, man. Shit, they're struggling too. Like, I think sometimes of my mom coming home from work and trying to put dinner together with no help.
Right.
And maybe some of the kind of complaints that she heard from us sometimes that were, oh man, broccoli and ground beef again. And now when I like scrambling sometimes to think of what to make for dinner, the difference is I say to my kids, hey, like last night they made dinner, right? We never did that. We didn't do that. But seeing them as real people with their struggles and maybe gaining some empathy for what their experience was. And then also what you feel like they just like legit did wrong and you hope you do better.
Gosh, and every parent screws up. I sometimes wonder that. I think, what am I going to what am I doing now that 20 years down the line, my kids are going to be complaining to their therapist?
I think about that too. I can't imagine there's anything.
Nothing.
No,
it's perfect.
Like honestly, whatever it is, they're making that shit up.
That's right.
Oh, they are. I've told Edgy this story, and it's like, I love my dad so much. I probably worshipped him, and even still do to some degree, but I definitely saw his faults. And I laugh thinking about like, how did my self-esteem survive? Like even just that little comment in the car, like something wrong with you, son. But I remember when I was probably 8, I guess, and my neighbor, they were getting their pool ready for the summer in PA. And I'm freaking 8 years old. So I grabbed one of the little sandbags my neighbor had to hold the cover down. And they were just throwing them away. So I took one home, and so I'm just sitting in the middle of the driveway, squirting his wet sand out in the middle of the driveway, just observing it. And my dad comes out, and he's like, I could see this utter just befuddlement on his face. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He didn't say fuck. He said, I've heard him say every cuss word in the book, but never fuck. But he's like, what in the hell are you? Jesus Christ, Mary, Mother, and Joseph. What the? And I'm like, and he comes over. He goes, why the hell are you pouring this wet sand on the driveway? And I literally remember looking at him and thinking, and empathizing, thinking, I don't know why. I don't know. And I said, I don't know. He's like, son, when a person does an action, there is a thought that immediately precedes that action. What was that thought for you? And I remember, I don't know.
I don't think a kid has that.
How old were you? How old were you, Marty?
8.
Okay, so my son is 9, and I kid you not, in the last 7 days, he has, number 1, put a stapler through his pointer finger all the way through, and then he swallowed a magnet ball. First, he was shoving them up his nostrils and then pulling them out with another magnet because he was bored. And gosh, what was the third thing? Oh, he got himself stuck in an air vent. And
no.
I would love to ask him the same question, but I also understand that he's a little boy. He's a 9-year-old kid, and he's not thinking about step 2 and 3. He's just thinking, what would happen if I, insert adventure here.
There's no thinking. Yeah. There's no thinking.
And my dad was this larger than life, 6'5", just big guy. And while I was having that interaction, then my mom comes out, and she's just little. That's where I came out in between. She's 5'1", and if she's listening to this, if she was able to get her app working, if she's listening to this, she's saying I'm 5'2". But she comes out, and my dad turns and looks at her. He's like, "You have a master's degree. Because the Air Force says I have 141 IQ. How could we have such a stupid kid?
Oh my God.
He said that, and I looked at him, and a couple of times I'd say things to him because corporal punishment was a little more common then. Although my dad didn't really hit me that much, but I looked at him and like. I said, she's pretty smart, but I'm not sure the Air Force got it right with you. And as those words are coming out of my mouth, I was thinking this could go either way for me. And that one of my saving graces with him is that I could make him laugh every now and then. I could see him like a flash of madness first, and then he was trying to hold back from laughing. He was kind of pinching his mouth like, clean that shit up, God damn it. And then he stormed away. But I knew he was laughing as he was back towards me. I'm like,
wow.
Okay, I didn't get my ass kicked for that one.
Yeah. I could make my dad laugh too. And that was satisfying.
Yeah.
Like a belly laugh.
Yeah.
Man, that's a big deal. Did you think when he passed away, Marty, did you ever think this is the next day, we met some of my cousins and we had a meal at a restaurant and I had to step outside and go for a walk. And I just lost it thinking about, he was a construction worker. And so he had really big, strong hands, and thinking about that I would never place my hand inside that hand again devastated me. And I hadn't thought about his hands in years. But, I really think when a parent passes away, it's not just the adult you that mourns, it's the child you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought about how big his hands were to me, and not putting my hand inside his again. It really, maybe kind of like that Penn State post-game, conference call. That it really hit me, but it was also nice to think about that. It was nice to think about. I still have some of his tools, his painting tools, and it makes me think of those working hands, which is so nice, But then also like a great piece, and I hope that Mickey and her family are having some of it. I certainly have it when thinking of Tom. It's hearkening back to that ayahuasca experience we had, dude, and the interconnectivity of everything.
Yeah.
And the love being in the end when everything else falls away.
Yeah.
It's love. And that remains alive. That's immortality. And so, I think it was raining down there the other day, and I was talking to Mickey's mom, and she said, she feels his presence and that he could feel the rain too. And, and I was thinking to myself, not only that, he is the rain.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. And I think, I hope it gives peace.
I believe that too. And Tom was such a sweet,
kind.
He was just a good man. He was a good man. Sweet, thoughtful, gentle.
Yeah.
And funny you mentioned hands, because during this time when my dad died, my mom had just been diagnosed with blood cancer and lymphoma, blood cancer. And so, they were talking about doing some kind of crazy stuff to her back in PA. And so I just kept her in San Francisco so she could go to, one of my friend's old colleagues' wife is a famous hematology oncology doctor, and she knew all about lymphoma and she was had just moved from UCSF to the VA, and she gave us a really great doctor, Dr. Ai Wei Yun, and at UCSF. She was so perfect for my mom, because my mom just really wants hugs. That's all she wants in life. That's all she wants. And this sweet doctor, brilliant sweet doctor, would give her hugs and talk to her, and she couldn't stay with me anymore because she needed 24/7 care at that point. So I had her in a temporary assisted living in Daly City, just, not far from, I could jump right on the 280, where I was in South of Market in the city, and go down and see her every day and take her to her treatments. And, her first day there, she fell out of the bed and she was crying, and I was sitting there with her. God, it just breaks my heart because I'm going to start choking up now. But I was just kind of like rubbing her head, and she said, honey, will you hold my hand? Because that's what my dad heard. She goes, that's what your father would do.
Aww.
And so I just sat there with her and held her hand, and it was a quiet moment, so.
But that's it. That's the love that lives on. You know what I mean? You leave an imprint on someone like that. And I guess we're doing it now, and you too, man, like Uncle Marty. I mean, the boys talk to their friends and call you Uncle Marty.
That's so sweet. I love those kids.
And even, I mean, like we think about what are they going to complain about to a therapist down the line, but also like, what are they going to miss?
Right. And I think that's the challenge. Can we hold our parents' hands, give them love and appreciation and comfort before they are on their deathbed? But do it now. I hear these things that your father said to you, Marty, and they're awful. And we've all had moments where our parents did things where we recognize later, oh, that was a big mistake. That was a bad parenting moment on their part. So the challenge is, how do we move on from forgiving that and honoring them and respecting them and showing our gratitude for all the other stuff that they got right?
Yeah.
And do it now when they're old and tired and they need it. They deserve it.
Right. And I wondered too about like saying, how could we have a kid that's so stupid? Like, Marty remembers that as a humorous moment.
Right.
And I wonder, like my experience having 3 boys, how different is it for you having a boy and 2 girls? Like what's
marvelous.
that? Well, like I think sometimes maybe my approach is probably at times harsher than it would be if it wasn't 3 boys.
Why? Because of sexism?
I think that just personality and the approach.
If he had a little girl, she would have him around her finger. She could get away with anything.
Yes, she would.
I think I don't know. I mean, I think there's been in each of their young lives, there's been at least a couple times where the message wasn't resonating, and they got a spank on the ass. I don't know if I would have spanked a little girl. I really don't know if I would. I haven't walked in those shoes. Maybe it'd be just the same. But
I don't know. My dad was,
I'm not sure.
Was hard about that too. He would not lay a hand on my sisters, and actually my older sister, because women develop faster. Plus, she was 2 years older. She beat the shit out of me every day of my life, probably until about 5th grade when our size equaled out.
Oh my gosh!
And then we had a knockdown, drag out fight, wrestling match / fight, and she smashed a wastebasket over my head that broke, and I had blood trickling down. And
oh my god!
And my parents came home, and my dad's like, he comes up to me, he's like, and he used to put his finger on my nose, just like, boy, we don't hit women in this household. I said, apparently it's okay for her to hit me though. He's like, and he kind of like, you could tell he was kind of a little stumped by that. He goes, I'm not saying that that's right either. I'm just saying we don't hit women in this household. So make that be the last incident I hear.
Wow.
Okay, Pop.
And that's probably hues with generally the message in society too, is just, hey, let's not hit each other, but especially, hey, there's no excuse for a man hitting a woman.
Right.
I confess, I have inherently like these subconscious higher expectations of my son than of my daughters.
Okay, how?
I get more upset when he makes mistakes.
Why do you think that is?
Well, haven't worked on that one yet.
Yeah.
But I just know the acknowledgement that I will, if my daughter makes a mistake or doesn't turn an assignment or is really slack or lazy about something, I often find myself letting it go more.
And she's older.
She's older.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not worried about her developmentally. She's fine. She's a good student. She's got talents. And I'm not worried about him either.
Yeah.
But I feel more anxiety and nervousness when I see him mess up.
Interesting.
You can work on that here with us on the air.
I can spank you?
Well, I mean, usually I give somebody $1 to do that. But, sure.
That's so interesting, Britt. And again, like not having walked in those shoes, I don't have an experience being the father of daughters. There's things that make me anxious about the boys in different ways. if I choose to worry about their future, you know, at any given moment, based on their personality. And so maybe it is personality based, and it just so happens there's a gender difference there too. But like, there's kind of this inherent feeling of like, I know you'll be okay in this realm, but if another one messes up the same way, you know, I kind of see this pattern with you, and it makes me worry.
And maybe you push them a little bit harder.
Yeah. So maybe, you know, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses and needing different approaches. That's one of the things I learned having multiple kids was,
oh my gosh,
man, you can go at one through the front door, but the other one, you need to find a side window. And then the other one, you need to kind of call from outside the house and have him come out and meet you. You know, you can't approach them the same way.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things that I wish I could tell all parents. Like, just when you've read your 3 or 4 parenting books, you've learned how to do timeouts or discipline just fine. You raise this adorable little 2-year-old, and then the next one comes along and they need a completely different education and discipline approach. You know, I would tell my daughter no if she threw something on the floor and it scattered all over, and she would just giggle and run off. And I would tell my son no, and he would burst out bawling in tears, feeling awful. So we learned very quickly.
I think we've landed on one of the things that's going to come out on the therapist couch 20 years down the line.
Yep.
She said no to me.
She said no.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised 30 years from now. I mean, today parents are saying we don't reprimand our children. We just talk with them about it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in that camp. No, I don't. You know, I don't think we need to go back to our childhoods. My dad never spanked. My dad never hit. He didn't believe in it. My mom did. And until I got too fast, I would dodge it. She'd swipe, and I'd dodge.
I would rope a dope with my mom. She'd be hitting like, she was so small too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But you know, that's also cultural. I mean, in Ecuador, dude, my uncle, my mom's youngest brother, who's also my godfather, and he had 3 boys. The middle one was my age, and they were each a year apart. So they were all basically my age. And they lived on this big, like, 5-acre piece of property outside of Quito, Ecuador. That was just awesome. I mean, it was just wild, you know. I mean, we would run around sometimes with no clothes on and just doing whatever we wanted. But I remember a couple of times getting in trouble. We had a water balloon fight inside their bedroom one time, and my uncle came in, and we were all naked, jumping on the beds, throwing water balloons at each other. And my uncle came in, and they're telling me, this is like different culture, man. He grabbed a Matchbox racetrack set, one of those plastic floppy orange you know, Hot Wheels racetracks.
A Switch.
He grabbed one of those and would grab whichever one of us he could get his hands on and start spanking.
Oh my!
And the other 3 were running to put like multiple layers of pajama bottoms on before they got snagged. You know, that's a different time. But they, like, you talk to them now, there's no therapist couch. We tell those stories and we laugh. Yeah. We laugh. I mean, there's no
because it wasn't like ubiquitous. It wasn't, you know, for every story I say about my dad, there's 100 tender moments with him. And and like my mom, when I was growing up till about 11, I think, I was a fucking pain in the ass. I was hard to deal with. I mean, blowing up firecrackers and doing all kinds of stupid shit. And I was sometimes mean to her, and I knew it affected her, and I was mad at her because she would say no or whatever, or try to, you know, my dad was working a lot, and the day to day, she was a school teacher, so, but when we were younger, she didn't work, and a lot of the day to day raising came to her. And I remember one time, it was a pivotal moment I'll never forget, because it just impacted me. Even at like 10 years old, I was just saying something like mocking her because she had this child raising book she was trying to read to fix me, I guess. And she took me to a counselor one time, and I'm like, I knew exactly what this counselor wanted to hear. I'm like, and so I told her, and the counselor said, he's fine. And then I went back to being an asshole again. Wow. And so I remember she was crying, and we were arguing, and she looked at me and said, you know, you can be as mean as you want to me, but I'm always going to love you. So just, you know, you just have to know that. And I remember.
Did that change things?
Not in the moment. really like I stopped. It shut me up for a second, and then I kind of trailed off my being meanest. But I went back to my room, and I thought about it, and I thought, shit, man, that just feels. It felt good. I mean,
to know that
it
were loved.
It was just so impactful. They would do stuff like that, you know. They were good parents, even with their flaws. But to this day, I'll never forget that moment, and I'll never forget that it impacted me, even as a 10-year-old. That one comment.
It's kind of succinctly wraps up parenthood, doesn't it? You can be as mean to me as you want to be. Just know I'm always going to love you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe also it kind of succinctly wraps up a child's love toward a parent. You know, there's some kids who don't have the greatest parents, and they'll still never stop loving their parents.
Right.
You know, and absorbing what's going on, or trying to excuse it, or eventually deal with it maybe. But like, that's, you know, like back to my brother, really kind of being abandoned by both of his parents.
Right.
And he never stopped longing for that. You never stop wanting that. You know, it's kind of, it's a powerful relationship.
Yeah.
That's a real bond there. Call your dad, folks. Tell him you love him.
Yeah, for sure. Or interview your dad, you know. Mickey did a StoryCorps interview.
I love StoryCorps.
Yeah. In 2004, March 2004, 8 days after Sebastian was born, our first son, we were in Grand Central Station, and we'd made an appointment for Mickey to interview her dad because her parents had come into town to visit us after the birth. And so she sat for 40 minutes and interviewed him in the recording booth that was set up there in Grand Central. And she just came across it this week, again, gathered with her siblings in Florida after his passing, and they've listened to it multiple times. Interview your parents. I did one with my mom, and I don't know where it is, and I feel like I need to re-interview her now, you know, because there's questions like, what are your biggest regrets? What would you change? You know, questions that you've never bothered to ask, and that you might wish you did when it's too late to.
The day before my dad died, it was I was thinking that week when they were in San Francisco, I wanted to interview him because he's got so many stories. You know, he was in the Air Force, and he was airplane crashes, a whole bunch of them, and he survived, of course. And I wanted to just talk to him about all of his stories, and I didn't. But like that night, because, you know, we had the phones, and, you know, it would have been a lot easier to do it then. But that night, or that afternoon before he passed, the next evening, it was funny because my mom was like all perched up, sitting on the table watching or looking at Facebook to see what the grandbabies are up to, and he just looks at me. He was sitting in his chair, and he looks over at me and goes, "Son, you see that little girl over there?" And he points to my mom. I said, "You mean Ma?" He's like, "Yeah, your mother." And I said, "Yeah, what about her?" And he said, "She's my angel of mercy." He says, "I just love her." And she wasn't really hearing. She's kind of like looking through her bifocals, trying to see what's going on. And she looks over and goes, "What's he saying? What's he saying?" And it was just so sweet and tender. And that was the last, well, I mean, he said other things that night, but that was my last like memory of a tender comment that he made. And the way he loved her and treated her, it made me respect him so much. So I guess my point was I wanted to record his stories and ask him all these questions.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of them, but I forget a lot of them too. But I wish I had him on tape or digital, you know. Right. So,
well, luckily you do have a bunch of them, and that's a nice one. That's a nice button.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. Well, it's a heavy topic, but it's worth talking about. And, you know, we're also psyched to have you on board, Britt, and have you chime in with your perspective and your sense of humor and you know, just the whole thing. By the way, we got a lot of compliments on your episode. I heard from multiple people specifically who I've never heard from before about the podcast.
So did I. Doobie commented.
Really? Yeah. You're just saying how much they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
At least one person confessing they think they might have a crush on you.
Ooh,
Yeah, I've
male
been
or female?
a male. I've been freely giving out your address. I hope that's okay. But we can mine for some females too, because I know it's 2020 and you're open minded.
It's 2020.
And she's awesome too. So thanks for bringing your awesomeness here.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy to be here.
And we've got some things lined up for next week, so we'll schedule some stuff out. And hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah, happy Saturnalia, Merry Christmas, Happy
Kwanzaa, Happy
Hanukkah.
Yeah,
all the
happy holidays. That they should come up with a term that kind of encompasses it all. That could also get some people mad. Happy holidays.
But I think this episode was great to have Britt. Well, they're all going to be great for having Britt. But I mean, to have a reflective episode coming into the winter solstice and the Christmas holiday and the Hanukkah, whatever it is for you, but to be reflective and to think about your loved ones and the important things in life. So
yeah,
I think this was very timely also.
Yeah, especially during this time, right, where we're all kind of
isolated
and locked down, and just kind of maybe a note to leave on. You know, we're having a virtual memorial for Tom on Saturday, and normally we would all be gathered. The boys and I stayed behind. Mickey went back to Florida because we didn't want to unnecessarily expose her mom. They have a large family in Florida, huge family. They're not going to gather. It's all going to be virtual. And that can seem like something that's been taken from you, right? This is not how we should have been doing this. But like I was telling Mickey the other day, that's true. But also what's true is that because of COVID, several months ago, her whole family started doing weekly Zoom get-togethers. That's something we'd never done before, ever. I mean, months would go by without certain people talking to other people, or, and it was weekly check-ins and get-togethers. And that was because of COVID. And so there is a perspective, right? If you want to search for, we can easily recognize what's been taken, but there are things to recognize of some things have been given. If we've taken advantage of them, perspective's important, I guess, is my point.
Roger that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Sitting here with my very symmetrical mustache and feeling pretty thankful.
And we're not going to burst this reality bubble in the holiday spirit.
No, I'm just going to say Feliz Navidad, brother.
Yeah, Roger, right on.
Wait a minute. Why are you saying that?